What's up, everyone? I've been having a lot of my friends get into Street Fighter for the first time, or start climbing the ladder seriously for the first time recently. And a lot of them have been complaining about DI, jump-ins, modern controls, a lot of random stuff that a lot of people go through. It's, at this point, a canon event for Street Fighter players to go through this, so I thought I'd analyze a match and kind of create a pseudo guide for how to deal with this behavior. Because it does have counterplay. You don't see this kind of thing at top level, you kind of see it teeter out once you get to master rank and especially above 1500 MR. So we're going to look at this match between a Ryu and a Modern Controls Sagat. What we're going to look for is we're going to look for how many interactions each character wins, and then we'll go back through and analyze what they got out of each interaction. To start off, Sagat gets a DI, gets a auto combo off of it. Ryu whiffs an OD reversal, gets punished for it. Ryu gets a light confirm into a sweep, into a throw. 3 interactions right there. OD reversal, we're counting that as an interaction. Great anti-air, counting that as an interaction. Then Sagat gets another DI into a big combo, and then gets one final confirm to end the round. Ultimately, Sagat won more interactions than Ryu and won the round as a result, right? But let's actually analyze the reward on each interaction and reveal kind of how imbalanced this turns out. So to start with this DI combo, again, this results in 25% of Ryu's health missing. And then whiffing the Shoryuken resulted in another 15 to 20% health gone. That is a lot. In just 2 interactions, Sagat already has Ryu just a little bit above half health. If we then analyze the next 3 interactions, which are won by Ryu, we can see why this is such a huge difference. Ryu gets a light confirm, Ryu sweeps, and Ryu throws Sagat. And that results in just about a fourth, between a third and a fourth of Sagat's health missing. Compared to the 2 interactions that left Ryu bleeding, Sagat's got a bruise. This is definitely the largest pain point I hear a lot of people talk about when discussing modern controls and drive impact. Modern controls allow anyone to hold the right trigger and press circle to get roughly 25% of someone's health bar by pressing 2 buttons. And likewise, DI creates very easy to confirm opportunities through an armored reversal that result in getting these heavy auto combos for free, or getting super whatever long combo. This steep of a difference in rewards per interaction can be incredibly tilting to play around and results in a lot of the pain points that were discussed in the beginning of the video. And that is put on display perfectly here in the second round of this game. Sagat jumps in with the same heavy auto combo. Sagat blocks the reversal, does the same heavy auto combo. Then once more, Ryu whiffs a throw, you see the same heavy auto combo, but this time with a super at the end. Rounds won with 3 heavy auto combos like that are far too common in the lower ranks, and are easily the biggest pain points for a lot of my friends. So we're gonna look into what we can do about this kind of gameplay and how we can train against it. Bringing us to training mode, I'm going to reveal the outline I prepared for how we end up dealing with the behavior we saw in the match we analyzed. What's going wrong here is that every hit that I take as a classic controls player is resulting in 25% of my health missing. I don't get to make that many mistakes. And when I do take a defensive action, taking a throw, uppercutting, DIing back, I'm only getting so much reward back. This is creating the difference in reward that we're seeing between modern players and new classic players. So let's transition into what do we actually do about this? What can we do about this? There's a multitude of things that can result in safer gameplay, but what we're going to start with is being DI safe. Before we go into what being DI safe means, let's think about what things beat DI. The first example is supers. All supers armor break. You cannot armor through any supers in the game, no matter what armor move it is. So level 1s, level 2s, level 3s, all great examples of beating DI. The next example is a pretty straightforward one as well. Throws beat DI. You can't armor a throw. There's nothing to armor. And then last and most important and possibly most obvious is that DI beats DI. To make it as simple as possible and also to min-max the reward we get out of countering DI, we're going to focus on DIing back and what moves enable that. The more obvious of the solutions is if a move recovers in time such that you don't get hit by the DI by the time the move is over, of course you can DI back. If I jab and I jab again, the jab ends and I can just DI back. Straightforward, simple. Another good example, and this one is where the nuance comes in, is if I do a special cancelable move, I can cancel into DI. It's easy to get caught up in calling any move that is special cancelable DI safe, but that's also pretty far from true. An example of a move that's special cancelable but not terribly DI safe is Ed's stand medium kick. It is special cancelable, just like that, but the issue is that I have to commit to whatever action I'm doing afterwards. This goes for a lot of one-hit committal special cancelable moves, including my stand heavy punch. I can cancel into DI, but if I'm doing it in neutral, I'm probably in a situation where I've already buffered my next action and DI is just going to kill me. This brings us into our second subject, which is confirms. Now, broadly speaking, confirm just means you saw something hit and then you confirmed it into a combo. Just the words just used like that. But there are moves that work better as confirms than other moves. Stand medium kick into light snatcher. Bad confirm. I have to guess that someone's not going to DI me in order to do that. That's why it's a harassing tool and not like a true neutral tool. But stand medium punch, heavy punch target combo is a very strong confirm. If I am not sure if I'm going to get the hit or not, I can choose 3 different enders. I can end in Psycho Spark if it's blocked. If it hits, I can end in Heavy Blitz or any kind of combo extension I want to do. And if someone DIs me, I can DI back. Perfect example right here. Mileage certainly varies on different confirms, but the point of a confirm is to make sure that you get a hit, you win the interaction, and you cash out. And that leads directly into the third point on what can we do about this. We got to make it hurt. We got to make sure that when we do hit someone, we make it count. And that's exactly what confirms are here for. When I DI Ryu back, I'm not hitting the I'm not hitting back punish. I am not just throwing. That is worth no damage. You wasted such an opportunity to do a lot of damage. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure we have at least one good combo memorized. So when I DI back like this, I'm hitting my B&B. I'm doing whatever's gonna help me cash out. That way I get 3k damage instead of 1000 damage or 1500 damage. And we really don't need it to be the most optimal combo in the world. Even just doing one move into a special move that knocks down makes sure we cash out at all instead of dropping a combo and getting punished for it. Now I wish it was as simple as telling you the solution and then you immediately implement it, but we're gonna need to train our reactions in order to be able to effectively counter DI. Because even if we buy ourselves more time with these confirms, and even if we condition our opponents to cool it by making it hurt, it's still going to take time in the lab in order to be able to see the DI and know how to properly respond to it. Which brings us to our next segment. How do we train our DI reactions? And the short answer to that is to press start and go over to simple training settings. There are a lot of presets for training that are really effective. Namely, combo practice, anti-air practice, and drive impact defense practice are all pretty good at covering the things that we're worried about in this context. Combo practice is what we've been doing, where we have Ryu just take a hit or block. But let's check out anti-air practice. Anti-air practice is really strong because Ryu will just neutral jump over and over and over again until he finally decides to jump at you. And this will help train our reactions so that A, we're not getting baited on normal jumps, and B, we make sure that we do anti-air every time someone jumps at us. Remember, there's no air block in Street Fighter, so committing to something that's just invulnerable is a very strong way to counter jump-ins, and makes it so people don't get to jump in on you and get free plus frames and drive damage. Next, we'll check out drive impact defense practice. Now, this one is pretty good, like the anti-air practice, but it still leaves a lot to be desired because there's not much ambiguity between jumping and pressing DI. If I focus on this, I will just do it every time without fail, and I'm pretty rusty on Street Fighter right now. So instead, what we can do is we can go into the next bullet point, which is programming the bot ourselves. To get the most effective anti-DI practice, we're going to do exactly what I did when I initially learned the game. Ed wasn't out yet, so I was playing Jury, and I really wanted to throw loop people, so I'd do this over and over again. But I didn't actually know what to do once people started attacking my throws. I'd do a lot of just, you know, medium punch, crouch medium punch, maybe a heavy punch. And a lot of times I just get countered and DI'd, so I needed a solution for that in the reversal settings. If you press L1 or R1 4 times, you'll get to reversal settings, and these are some of the most powerful tools in the game you can mess with. You can go in any individual slot and choose an action for the bot to do. And what I did initially was I chose light punch, normal throw, and drive impact. And what I learned later on is also very effective to do, is take some of these later slots and choose a couple do nothing slots. This means so I have a 1 in 5 chance to choose any single option, and 2/5 of those are going to be do nothing and continue blocking, and then the other 3 are going to be light punch, normal throw, and drive impact. Before we start drilling all these options together, we're going to press Y or triangle or T on the keyboard to toggle just light punch on for now. The reason we're going to do this is because this is going to help us figure out what options we actually have on wake up. In the case of Jury dashing forward after a throw, she's only +3, which means our options are pretty limited for meaty moves. We definitely don't have time for a heavy option, so we're going to have to roll with mediums for now. If I try and press heavy punch here, I'm just going to get hit. So what I found in my Jury practice was that pressing stand medium punch and then crouch medium punch converts into a very simple combo that results in a knockdown. And so medium punch became my standard option for meaties. Next, we're going to toggle off light punch and toggle on drive impact. Now, this is obviously more useful because this is mostly an anti-DI video. But this is really nice because whatever confirm works against light punch, we need to make sure it also works really well against DI. And so in the case of Jury's stand medium punch into crouch medium punch, this works incredibly well against DI because the first hit recovers in time for the second hit to be cancelled and for me to react to whatever wake up option they choose. If we go back into the reversal settings and toggle these all on, we'll then be able to drill our wake up such that we cover most of the options available to the opponent. This won't cover if someone wakes up with a super or an OD Shoryuken, for example, but this should beat most options, including blocking, throwing, mashing, or drive impact, which are the most important ones to cover in my opinion. To start the drill, we're going to knock Ed on the ground so that he chooses one of the get up options. And we're going to change what we do on meaty based on whether we counter hit him, whether he DIs, or whether he blocks. So that time he blocked, so I just did an empty crouching medium punch. No follow-ups necessary, but I could also do a fireball if I have the Fuha stocks for it. I counter hit that time, so I end in a quarter circle back medium kick in order to get a Fuha stock and get another knockdown. And of course, I DI back, and I cash out. Now you don't have to throw every time, you can just chain these depending on what Ed does. So if he blocks, of course, you're probably just going to throw him again. If he ever decides to do something else, you can just try and meaty him again from here. And keep trying to chain these together until you don't whiff any special moves, you counter DI every time, and you convert to a combo whenever you do get a straight hit. Even though these are relatively simple training settings, the idea is to condition ourselves to respond the correct way to the correct visual stimuli. I don't want to have to be in a position where I have to think about uppercutting Ryu here. I just want to be able to do it successfully every time, every single time he jumps at me. The better I'm able to chunk these responses, the more comfortable I'll be in gameplay and the more risky I can play as a result of being able to cover all my bases. Though this training can be incredibly monotonous, it is pretty important to eventually chunk all this stuff, whether it's through training or casual games with your friends, because this kind of counterplay is what Street Fighter is built around. You need to be able to counter DI, and you can't be letting people jump at you every single time. Otherwise, it's going to continue to be the case that you need to hit someone 10 times to kill them, while they're only going to have to hit you 2 to 5 times to kill you. This kind of offensive and defensive drilling is what's necessary to bridge the gap between classic and modern controls. Modern controls have access to one-button DPs and anti-airs, in addition to being able to spam an auto combo button in order to get a 25% damage punish. In order to be able to compete within the same space, we have to make sure that our inputs are just as consistent as theirs, and unfortunately it is the case that it's going to take a lot of repetition to get it down. But I promise once you are able to do this kind of thing consistently, it feels really, really good, and it allows for gameplay that is more interesting in the end than waiting for someone to hang themselves over and over. Thanks for watching the video. If you're a stranger, I hope you enjoyed it or found it useful. And if you're one of my friends who I felt needed this video, I'm now going to call all your names one by one, starting now.